Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tiffany and this is Taste with Tiffany. Today we are making kimchi at home. I don't know if you've ever attempted this recipe before, but it is absolutely delicious, and today we're going to go through a step-by-step method for making kimchi at home. For this recipe you will need 1 apple or a pear, coarse sea salt, fresh ginger, fresh garlic, gochugaru, which is Korean chili flakes, and a Napa or Chinese cabbage, spring onions or scallions for my American viewers, some dashi, and also a very large jar. I've also put the full recipe and the method of how to make kimchi down in the description box below, so you can check it out after you've watched the video. So to start this recipe, we're going to cut the cabbage lengthways into quarters. You can see this is quite a large cabbage, but this is a recipe for one. Once you've quartered up your cabbage, we're going to get a 1/2 cup measure, and we're going to fill that with some coarse sea salt. We're then going to dissolve the coarse sea salt in 5 cups of warm water, and then we're going to use this to rinse and wash our cabbage. So we're going to just give it a nice little bath each quarter, but what you definitely want to do is you really want to keep this water for later. So please don't throw this water away, it's quite important. Now that we've given our cabbage a lovely bath, we're going to separate out each of the cabbage leaves and we're going to salt them. So this is a really important process, so you do have to be thorough. Make sure you go in between each leaf. It can be quite difficult to get them apart sometimes, but do persist. It's definitely worth it for the end result. Now that you've finished salting your cabbage, we're going to pack it into a container quite tightly. And so you will need a container with a lid for this next step. So make sure you've got one on hand. I'm sprinkling extra salt on here, but it's not necessary. I just wanted to have a bit of flourish. So here we have our salted water from earlier that we used to wash the cabbage in. We're going to pour this back over the cabbage now. This is why we kept it. We're creating a brine. So what we're doing is we're going to brine and soften and tenderize the cabbage. Put the lid on, and then we're going to leave it for 6 to 8 hours. Please do not start this recipe in the evening like I did. You will get very tired.
2,000 years later.
Now that we have a beautiful brined cabbage, let's start with the kimchi seasoning itself. So we're going to get the garlic, the apple, the gochugaru, the fresh ginger, the dashi, and we're going to whiz it all together in a food processor. And as a side note, has anyone else got one of these little plasticky rollers to remove garlic skin? They're absolutely brilliant. I'm going to put a link in the description box. If you don't have one, they're definitely worth getting because they save so much time in the kitchen. So the dark green ends of the spring onions are going to be used as well for this recipe. We're actually going to put it in the kimchi with the cabbage and with the carrot as well. They make a very tasty addition to the dish. Now we are coming to the fun bits. So all of the seasoning paste that we've just whizzed up together, we're going to empty that into a bowl where we've got the cabbage and we've got the carrots and we've got the spring onions, and we're going to mush it all together. So get some gloves on your hands to protect yourself from the chili paste, and we're going to mix it all up and make sure it's thoroughly combined. It really is worthwhile to make sure that you pack the kimchi tightly, so remove any air pockets, but also to make sure you can fit all the cabbage in the jar, because it is quite a lot, so make sure you do smush it all down together. And that's why I said to wear gloves. Ta-da! We have made kimchi at home. The next day I decided to give the kimchi a try. You can actually start to eat it as soon as the next day, but it's recommended to leave it for 2 weeks for the flavors to deepen. As you can see, it was not bad from the expressions on my face because I kept going back for more. Hi everyone, I'm back and we are now on the 5th of May. So it has been 2 weeks since we made this jar of kimchi, and I'm about to open it with you. And a few things I wanted to point out before we actually open the jar. It's quite interesting what's happened. So hopefully you can see this. Can you see there the liquid in the jar? So some of the liquid has started to separate during the fermentation process. And I was a bit concerned about this, I won't lie. I thought that basically this whole jar had started to spoil and go off. But I spoke to a friend of mine who's an ex-chef, and he said it's because of the lactic acid separating during the fermentation process. All I need to do is just to stir it up. And from there, it should be fine, and it should still be fine to eat. So when I made this, I did sample it, I think a few days after I actually jarred it up, and it was lovely, very delicious. But this is now 2 weeks in, so we're going to open the jar and we're going to have a little try. So let's open up the jar and see what we've got in store. I am armed with my lucky chopsticks. So these are my lucky chopsticks, don't ask me why, but they are. And I'm about to open up the jar here. So let's have a little look and see, shall we? Bird's eye perspective, you can see it's very cold. Whoa! Whoa, that had a lot of trapped gas. Oh my goodness me. It definitely smells fermented. But it does smell like kimchi, like it doesn't smell rotten or anything. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my lucky chopsticks and I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a mush around, like my friend said, just to reincorporate it. I am the only person in my household who eats kimchi or eats fermented food, so this jar is going to be lasting me quite a while. So it's a good thing it's a long-lasting food, hey. I'm going to put the camera back on its stand and let's give it a taste test. So you can definitely smell the kimchi scent in the house now, but I don't think it's unpleasant. I'm quite a fan of kimchi itself and of fermented foods more generally. I think they're really good for you and for your gut health. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get a bit that's got like some, here we go. So this is a good example of the kimchi. So it's got the carrots in there. You can see it's got the scallions. It's also got the cabbage in there, the Chinese cabbage. And you can see all its drippy, oozy glory. Some people might think that this doesn't look very appetizing, but look, let's give it a taste. That's all we can do, and see if our kimchi experiment at home has been a success. So cheers. Delicious. Delicious kimchi made at home. Honestly, it's absolutely gorgeous. I would strongly recommend that you try this recipe. Take the plunge, take a big step into the unknown and try making your own kimchi at home. It's really, really tasty, and I'm going to be enjoying this with several meals. And you'll probably see it in my future videos as well, so do stay tuned. So as I munch on these last bits of kimchi on my plate, I just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in and watching my video about how to make kimchi at home. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative, and I hope the recipe was easy to follow. Please leave a comment down below if you tried this recipe. I'd really like to hear how you get on with it and how you find it. If you enjoy my recipes and enjoy these kind of videos, please consider subscribing, because there's going to be a lot more of this coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.